Hiya! What is going on, y'all? Saul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So lately we've been doing a lot of reminiscing about older games and also talking a little bit about Pokemon Unite every now and again, but in the midst of that I was kind of missing doing these random topic videos, just talking about the game itself and just talking about certain possibilities for the mainline games, because these are fun to talk about. And again, for those of you that mainly came around or came through specifically for the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining news or the Pokemon Legend news, sorry to tell you, bub, there's really nothing going on in that department right now. Quiet as all hell. Like I always say, if there's something to talk about there, then I'll find something to talk about. But as of right now, we have delved into literally every inch, nook, and cranny regarding those. So, as per usual, we're going to be talking about other things, because we're not going to just sit there and be stumped on that, you know what I mean? So in this video here, as the title suggests, I kind of want to delve into the topic of if we still need a silent protagonist in Pokemon. Now don't sit there and get it twisted. I'm fully aware that 9 times out of 10 when playing an RPG, you are playing as a silent protagonist. Hell, just about 85 to 90% of the time when you're playing a generic turn-based RPG, the protagonist is silent. I can only think of maybe a solid handful of times where you weren't playing as somebody that didn't respond to other characters themselves. 9 times out of 10, if you're able to name your character, that means that you are playing as a character that is not going to respond to people. Or at the very least, not without your direction on what they're going to say next. Now, we have talked a little bit about making decisions in Pokemon before, and we may touch up upon that topic in this video a little bit because a silent protagonist kind of pertains to that in a way, but ultimately, this is a different situation entirely. Also, for the record, me questioning this is in no way me saying that having a silent protagonist is automatically a bad thing. Don't just go around throwing assumptions on that kind of thing. We don't do that around here. It's just a question to think about. Maybe we'll come to some kind of conclusion by the end of the video, and maybe we won't. We just have to see what happens. So with that, why don't we start going ahead and moving along with the main point of the video. Do we still need a silent protagonist in Pokemon? We've had silent protagonists in Pokemon since day one, and that has literally never changed. Most of the times, not even in the spin-offs. However though, as somebody that's played a multitude of different RPGs, I'm not going to sit here and consider the idea of having somebody with an actual story within Pokemon that you get to control. On top of not being able to make choices, we also don't have a protagonist that really has their own personal story, and that's what we're kind of here to tackle today. So why don't we start getting into it? First, I wanted to talk about the benefits of having a silent protagonist, and then I wanted to get into the downfalls of having a silent protagonist. As per usual, around here we like to start on a little bit of a high note, so why don't we start talking about the benefits, the good things about having a silent protagonist. One of the first big pluses is just generally the fact of having one so that it's easier to place yourself in the shoes of the main character. Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible to do that with a main character that does speak for themselves. However, having one that doesn't speak allows you to really hop into the game yourself. It's almost like you're putting on a whole bodysuit. That main character that you're playing as is supposed to represent you, what you think about the situation, what you would do in those scenarios. And of all the years that we've been playing the games, I gotta say, Pokemon has done a phenomenal job of that. Now, when I say this, I obviously don't speak for everybody. Obviously, there's plenty of us out here that would love to just go off the beaten path and do something that doesn't involve us entirely. 9 times out of 10, I'm sure that if Pokemon were real and we really were placed in these situations, I'm not really sure that any of us would really go out of our way to tackle all of these problems that frankly should be handled by maybe the police, or the gym leaders, or the Elite Four, or the champion. Saying that out loud made me realize that that's an entirely different discussion for another day, but anyway, I am for certain that for a lot of us, if we had the power to help in said situations, we would do what we could to help. And because we're playing games that have a story that somehow end up revolving around you no matter where you go or what you do, obviously you're gonna do what you can with the power you were given to help these people and these Pokemon. Cause there ain't no doubt, a lot of us don't really mind feeling like a little bit of a hero, you feel me? And then there are the genuine few of us that actually do want to be the champion, and these scenarios just so happen to get in the way. So what I'm getting at is, for the most part, Pokemon does allow you to feel like you're really going through your own little journey just by having a protagonist that's completely silent. Next on the list of good here is the fact that we can comfortably change their appearance to suit our likings more. Or at the very least, in the modern games we can. Think about it this way, when it comes to personalizing your things, what's the #1 thing you can do about that? That's right, decorating. Maybe it's putting stickers on something, maybe it's getting a case or a cover for it. Hell, maybe it's just changing the wallpaper to your new phone or your new computer. When it comes to most things, having the power to decorate it and change it up to your personal liking is the best way to have an attachment to it. You're stylizing it to your taste so that you could differentiate it from anybody else that so happens to have that exact same thing. When it came to Pokemon, we were never really able to change the trainers, and even when it came to the Pokemon themselves, the best that we could do really was change up their nicknames. But hey, that Ghastly to Gengar that you nicknamed Bowie all those years ago is still yours and yours alone. Getting back on topic here, finally having the power to change the trainer's clothing and hairstyles and skin color has really made us feel a hell of a lot more attached than we ever were before. Albeit they do have a lot of work to do when it comes to fine-tuning that. However, we have come a long way since 6th gen. I mean, hell, I'm black, so I'm sure a lot of you can imagine that my attachment to the main characters from 1st to 5th gen wasn't all that strong. We can all argue to hell and back how good or bad 6th gen was, but at the end of the day, bringing over customization was nothing but a good thing. Now more than ever, we are fully able to immerse ourselves in the trainer that we've actually envisioned. And even if we don't get to speak or make choices really for that character, we at the very least get to see our own character that we created go through this journey. And it most definitely creates a bigger difference in our journeys besides just having different Pokemon. Hell, when you really think about it, there's other RPGs out there that don't even really do that for us. Granted, there is usually something that helps compensate for that, but for the most part, rarely can you get a stronger attachment than being able to create your own character and put them in the story. Don't even sit there and lie to me either. I know that a ton of you, for a fact, have sat there playing your other favorite games and thought to yourself, damn, this game would be perfect if it had custom characters. When you love a world enough, all you want to do is insert yourself into it, and thankfully for Pokemon, they've managed to recognize that. Having a customizable character that's not a silent protagonist would be kind of weird, and I don't think that I could think of many situations where that's a thing. If there is, please go ahead and remind me, because I'm pretty sure there is some I just forgot. My next point is that you feel a lot more involved in situations, even ones that have really nothing to do with you. 9 times out of 10, we're traversing around just trying to get our badges up, and then all of a sudden some kind of trouble comes up, and you're just like, oh, I guess I could help with that, it's kind of in my way anyway, so, you know, why not? And then maybe something crazy like the current champion comes up to you and they're like, hey, I kind of need your assistance with something, can you help me out with that? I know you're just a trainer, but you look powerful enough, and you're like, shoot, bro, let me in on that, what's going on, bro? You kind of get a gist of what I'm getting at here. The trainers of the world aren't coming to the main character of the game for help, they're coming to you for help, who just so happens to be the main character of the game. You really do feel like your own character, this newcomer that's coming in to make their mark on the world. And there's just something so weirdly powerful about that, I don't really know what it is. And speaking of feeling powerful, that actually leads me into my last point. And this one is actually very Pokemon specific. What I'm trying to say is, because you've grown up and you've played plenty of Pokemon, every new game that we get, we already know that we're gonna be the champion of that region. It's the one time where you actually get to walk in with somewhat of a god complex because you already know the drill. The characters of the game come up to this newcomer and talk to them like they have no idea what's going on, but you, sitting behind the screen controlling everything, already know what's about to go down and how it's about to get handled. Name me something more badass than your own character walking up to the main villain, the villain talking all that big game like you're about to get whooped, and you sitting behind the screen smirking like, bro, you don't even know what you just walked into. This is one of those very specific situations where it's kind of a good thing where the protagonist doesn't speak for themselves. The main antagonist is over there yapping their mouth off and you're already squared up because you put your money where your mouth is. Don't get me wrong though, it's very nice to see the main character go through some serious development, and by the time they get to the end of the game, they're practically a different person that's ready to rock the main villain. That's always dope. However, I have to admit, it is kinda dope to always feel like the real hero from minute one. It's almost like watching One Punch Man. You already know he's never gonna lose a fight, but it's kinda interesting to watch anyway. Whatever the case may be, it's just very fun to be that cocky. Because the moment you boot up the game, you already know that there is nothing stopping the steamroller that is you. Really powerful feeling. It's really great. So I've just about summed up all of my thoughts when it comes to the benefits of having a silent protagonist, so now it's time to start considering the other side of things, specifically the downfalls of having a silent protagonist. Now this isn't always the case, but like we talked about with Pokemon, it is kind of a tragedy that we do have a silent protagonist, however we still don't have control over how the story flows at all. To sum up what I said in that other decision-making video, basically I was just talking about the idea that even though you have control over the name of your character, the designs now, and the Pokemon that you can take with you, you don't have any other control over anything else. Of course, Pokemon is not the only culprit of this situation. However, when it comes to being able to create your own character and create your own teams and things like that, you would think you would be able to carve your own path and really make your journey your own. A lot of the stories of Pokemon have definitely suffered because of this, and having a silent protagonist really doesn't assist that. So instead of being able to do things the way that you want to do things, the other characters literally tell you how to do those things, where to do those things, and why you have to do that thing. Just saying, bro, I do enjoy tours every now and again, and I understand that you guys are the tour guides, but I like to go off the beaten path a little bit, have my own little decisions every now and again. But hey, that doesn't really matter because we can't say anything, so we just kind of have to listen. That's crazy. The next point that I'm going to bring up honestly hurts my soul a little bit when I think about it. Like I said earlier in the video, I very much appreciate the fact that they allowed us to start stylizing our characters to fit the way we want them to. But at the end of the day, no matter how much we stylize the character, decorate the character, change the character, it is still not truly us. Despite them all being silent protagonists, every main character that we play as in Pokemon games is, in fact, their own original character. They have their own original names, they have their own original styles, they have their own mothers, usually they're missing a father. And usually when showcased in the official mangas, they actually do have their own unique personalities too. Now I know that it's weird to bring up the manga, but that only proves my point in saying these are their own characters. It only doesn't feel like we're playing as another character because we've already decorated them to hell and back, and they don't have responses to showcase their own unique personalities. And this just kinda adds on to a couple of my previous points. If we're really playing as these characters that aren't even canonically us, and we don't have the option to change the story for ourselves so we all have different experiences, then what exactly is stopping them from allowing us to actually play as a character that has their own thought process, own personalities, and things like that so that we could experience the story of a character? I mean, am I wrong about that? Please go ahead and tell me if I am, because I'm sure we would all benefit a lot more if at the very least we could all have different experiences, but we're all going through the same exact path no matter how much we decorate it or change our teams. Whatever the case may be, my final point on this is just simply the fact that we don't get to have a relatable main character to get attached to. Not saying that we can't exactly get attached to the character that we're playing as, but there's definitely a huge disconnect. For example, like I said a moment ago, most of the time, 9 times out of 10 in a Pokemon game, your character's father is missing for some reason, completely MIA with absolutely no explanation. Why isn't it that we can't have a main character that actually has a thought process for themselves that makes them think, hey, I want to see what happened to Dad? Or maybe they already have a plan in motion to try and get Dad back, but they have to get stronger first. At that point, it becomes the purpose of you, the player, to help that main character get stronger so that they could find out what the hell happened to their father. But hell, that's just an example. In general, our characters have absolutely no past, and honestly, when you think about it, it doesn't really make all that much sense. 10 or so years of an entire life, and you're telling me we have absolutely no explanation as to why we decided to just go out and become a Pokemon master? You're gonna sit there and tell me that there's nothing that inspired that or triggered that for us? We just have no explanation and we just decided on a whim, oh, I have a Pokemon now, let's go for the best. Really? Because we've gone through these 10 years of life or so just living with our mother, we don't really have much of a past to speak of. And because of that, it just kind of feels like we're filling this void of an empty husk of a character. In a way though, I do completely understand what they're going for because this is how they've done it since the beginning. They want you to play this game and go on this journey so that you could mold this character into someone of your liking, someone of your ideals. But like I said, because we can't change our path or general direction of our story, it kind of falls short. So think about it this way, instead of getting an entire art studio, you get like a ton of Play-Doh. I know that's kind of a jump, but that's kind of what it feels like. And I don't know about y'all, but me personally, I don't know how attached I can get to a thing of Play-Doh. It's just not me. Whatever the case may be, having a character that does speak for themselves is in no way a bad thing. It's really nice to see a character struggle, learn, and grow from every situation that they just so happen to get thrown into. And I guess one could argue that we do kind of have that when it comes to Pokemon specifically. If we lose a Pokemon battle, we need to go out, learn the matchup, and grow our Pokemon up a little bit so that we can overcome these obstacles. But in all honesty, it's just such a simple rinse and repeat. Yeah, great, awesome. Now we go to the next gym and we do the exact same thing, over and over again until we get to the championships. Mentally, our character is not held down or held back by anything, and they don't learn and grow from that. They just simply physically have to learn how to make their Pokemon stronger. That's something, I guess. I don't know, maybe you could call it greedy, but that's kind of where I'm at with that. So that just about does it for the goods and the bads of having a silent protagonist. And now I guess what you can call my final verdict on the topic, should we switch over to having an actual learning and growing character that speaks for themselves? I'm gonna say it like this, I've always enjoyed putting myself in the shoes of the protagonist, even if their complete silence hinders the story a bit. As a kid playing Pokemon, a lot of this is not even stuff that I ever even considered. So I'm definitely sure that kids going forward, you know, the audience that this series is pertained to, will not care in the slightest. And just like them, we're gonna pick up the next Pokemon game, we're gonna customize our character, we're gonna customize our team, and then we're gonna whoop the champion's ass just like we always have. So long story short, eventually we should change it up in some way, shape, or form. However, I'm not sure if completely eradicating the original formula for the mainline series is the move just yet. As we move along, for the time being, it'd just be best if we had some smaller gradual changes that don't kill the gameplay entirely for some people. Cause let's be real, for the mainline series, that would be a very drastic change. However though, I don't think it would be that big of a deal if we were to do it for something like, oh, I don't know, say a spin-off. How about we think about it this way? What if Wes, the main character that you play as in Pokemon Colosseum, actually had his own developing personality? I think he would be the perfect character to start with if we were to get a sequel of some kind to Pokemon Colosseum. Maybe then we'd actually learn about his backstory and learn why he left Team Snag'em like he did. I mean, hell, me personally, I would love to learn the story of Wes. Why the hell was he with Team Snag'em? Why did he decide to up and leave a bomb behind him? To blow up one of their facilities? What the hell is that about? If anything, I see this as a perfect Final Fantasy VII situation. Sure, we get to name the characters or whatever, but along the way we get to learn about their past, where they came from, how they got to where they are now. Whatever the case may be, when it comes to Pokemon Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness, those would have been the perfect time to have characters to learn about and actually go through the story of. So, just a heads up, if we were to ever get something along these lines of a character that actually has a past to develop from, it would probably be in some kind of spin-off. So if we were to ever get some kind of third to Pokemon Colosseum or Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, that's kind of how I'd want it to go. But in general, if for whatever reason we were to get an actual personality-driven character for a mainline game, I would not be mad about it whatsoever. Thinking about all the other RPGs that I've played, I will say it would be strange for a monster capture game, and yet I think that if they took a careful enough approach to this, they could absolutely make it work. But hey, whatever, that's just my general take on it. So now, I'm gonna go ahead and pass the mic over to you guys. What do you guys think about the possibility of having an outspoken main character that's not just an empty shell? Do you like the idea? Would you love to see an actual anime-like protagonist that goes absolutely crazy by the end of the game and has learned and struggled through all these different things that are standing in their path? Or would you rather we stick with what we have, get into this little bodysuit that we've always had all these years, and just go to town and play the game? Let me know what y'all think, but with that, I think it's about skedaddle o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and do just that. I want to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Make sure to drop a like and comment, and subscribe for more content just like this. And with that, I'm gonna get up out. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time.